You want to see something fun? Check this out.
You can police people for violating the law, and we have seen some of that with some of these protests.
Okay, so you agree that people who break in and vandalize a building should be prosecuted?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm just checking because you did help raise money for people who did so on January 6th, which was, impeding an official proceeding, breaking into a building that they weren't allowed to be in, and vandalizing the Capitol.
That, my friends, is what an ass-kicking looks like. Kaitlin Collins destroyed this little man simply by stating facts. JD Vance, who once compared Trump to Hitler, is campaigning for the VP slot after Kristi Noem shot herself off the ticket. And it's really pitiful to see a grown man grovel. But that's who he is. That's what you get. And part of being Trump's little toy is campaigning on the lie that the attack on the Capitol was something other than what it was. Except it was on TV. We all saw it. Everyone heard the chants. JD Vance has officially jumped the shark and is going full MAGA by spreading the lie. And that narrative is that the thousands of fat white people with Trump flags were actually BLM or Antifa, and not America's human basement of short-cutting, lazy racists who lost and can't stop crying.
Because the only way we're going to lose this election is if the election is rigged. Remember that.
Vance is a shill, a puppet, a weak little boy clamoring for attention. And like the rest of MAGA, they just make it up as they go.
Well, Kaitlin, I know that this is the obsession of the national media to talk about what happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago on January the 6th.
It's not an obsession. I'm just seeing if it's a double standard.
No, let me answer the question, Kaitlin. I mean, look, here's been my basic argument about January the 6th. If you beat up a cop, of course you deserve to go to prison. If you violated the law, you should suffer the consequences. But there are people who protested on January the 6th who have had the complete weight of the Justice Department thrown at them.
Name one person, JD, name one that has been prosecuted who wasn't in the Capitol or didn't assault police or didn't break windows. Come on, name one, you hump.
Now, again, there are people who are accused of worse offenses, and that's a problem.
You think it's a problem, JD? You had thousands of people coming from the Trump rally, many of which Trump knew were armed, he was told,
To the Capitol.
where Trump then sent them to the Capitol. For what? Sightseeing?
If you didn't know the TV footage was a video from January the 6th, you would actually think it was a normal tourist visit.
Then Trump's redneck convention proceeded to assault police, sending 100 to the hospital and 1 to the morgue, break into the Capitol screaming for Nancy Pelosi's life, screaming for Mike Pence to be hanged, chase members of Congress out of the Capitol, delaying the official certification of the election. You mean that little problem? Again, you mope. No one peacefully demonstrating had the right to enter the Capitol, and to your lying ass point, no one standing around peacefully was prosecuted.
But you can't have Black Lives Matter protesters who rioted and vandalized go free when you have people who were actually peacefully protesting on January the 6th who have the book thrown at them. That's the double standard that I'm most worried about.
Clever how JD Vance throws black people into the argument. The 800 plus people who have been arrested and sentenced weren't people who just happened to be there, or this doughy-eyed sow would be behind bars as well. That's Ginny Thomas, Clarence Thomas's wife. She was there, on January 6th, texting Matthews for Trump not to leave office. This was an attempted coup, not young black and white Americans protesting George Floyd's execution on live TV. But that's why MAGA is at its heart racist. Every time they're caught in a lie, they point to BLM or Antifa. And let's be honest, if 5,000 black Americans stormed the Capitol, you think JD would be defending them as innocent tourists?
You would actually think it was a normal tourist visit.
But JD Vance is a power whore who, like MAGA and its lazy white rebellion, all bitch about their lives because unlike immigrants and minorities, they're beginning to learn that their pasty pallor doesn't cut it like it used to. So they revert to the dog whistle days of the 50s.
Do you also agree that Emma Lazarus's words etched on the Statue of Liberty, "Give me your tired, your poor," are also part of the American ethos?
They certainly are. Give me your tired and your poor who can stand on their own 2 feet and who will not become a public charge.
Blaming their self-created problems on immigrants, minorities, and poor people.
Yeah, I don't think there's an obsession with January 6th, but it is a legitimate question. And given what you just said there, and as Trump is getting closer to, as he's a presumptive Republican nominee, he has said he would pardon, it's considered a blanket pardon for everyone on January 6th. Are you saying that shouldn't happen? People who beat up cops should be excluded from that?
Well, I think what President Trump has said, and of course he can speak for himself, but I pay attention, pretty close attention to what he says. And Yeah, I think what the president has said is that people who have this double standard applied to them should be pardoned.
It's really sad. The Trump-led attack, which led to multiple indictments, was a coup, an attempt to overthrow the government, and this bum-sniffing coward defends allowing criminals to go free, unless, of course, they're persons of color fighting for justice. What's crazy is Vance is so far up Trump's saggy ass, he can part his orange mop from the inside. But like everybody else in Trump world, I think he hates him.
Donald is a bully. The man is utterly amoral.
But they will do anything to please him because Trump is supported by the absolute worst part of America. But what Vance wants is to be Trump's pick. But as Kaitlin Collins points out, be careful what you ask for.
Does it give you any pause whatsoever about taking that job when you see how he treated his last vice president?
Well, Kaitlin, first of all, again, I haven't talked to Donald Trump about becoming vice president. I think it's important to support President Trump as Republicans because I think he was a good president. And I think that he made the country more prosperous. And I think he made the world more peaceful. What gives me pause, Kaitlin, is another 4 years of Biden's administration where he's opened the borders and where you have effectively a conflict, a major world conflict in nearly every continent in the world.
But my question was not about President Biden. It's about President Trump.
Well, look, it's fundamentally about President Biden because if you're comparing the two records of these presidents and asking, who do I want to be president? It's very clearly that I want Donald Trump to be president.
Again, Vance lies because everyone knew that the events of January the 6th was a very dangerous day to be in America. And yes, it wasn't just liberals.
My view of what happened January the 6th, and we're here. We saw what happened. It was a violent insurrection.
Last week's violent attack on the Capitol was undemocratic, un-American, and criminal. Violence is never a legitimate form of protest. The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding.
We are approaching a solemn anniversary this week, and it is an anniversary of a violent terrorist attack on the Capitol, where we saw the men and women of law enforcement demonstrate incredible courage, incredible bravery, risk their lives.
I don't know what's happening in America. Like many people on January the 7th, I thought Trump was done. But what I didn't calculate was the tremendous force of self-delusion. Like a religious cult, MAGA and people like Vance know right and wrong and simply choose wrong. And he's choosing a man who is saying it out loud. He will use violence if his ends are not met. Which again begs the question, what the F is wrong with you guys? What is it about Trump that you find so attractive? He's literally failed at everything he's done and has 50 years of crimes against women, businesses, charities, universities, and even his own family. And if you haven't noticed, he's facing 91 indictments right now. He's a pathetic shell of a human with no empathy for the Christian values he pretends to embrace.
I brought my Bible.
But here's my point. As horrible as Trump is, he's mentally ill. He's a clinically diagnosed sociopathic narcissist. And everyone with a junior high diploma can recognize his malevolent intent. Yet these people still embrace him. Why? Because America has a sickness. And you may find this ironic, but the side that talks all tough with their alpha males and their proud boys and their oath keepers are on their knees servicing this impotent, crusty skin tag who will eventually turn on you. And JD Vance, should Trump choose you to be his vice president, I would prepare for the inevitable backstab and double cross coming your way. It may be bad, or it may be worse. Either way, it's all on you.
On speed or something?
Who's with me?
Hi, what's up?
Time to pack it up.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, right.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
Thank you so much for watching. You know, YouTube frequently penalizes my videos for taking on controversial subjects, hurting our ability to earn ad revenue, which we use to hire more hosts and make more videos. We think it's so important to make these videos now and expose a Republican cult. So please join us on Patreon. The link is in the comments. We literally can't make these without you. Thank you so much. For Really American Media,
All of a sudden, this guy is like,
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.